Alright, so it is a weird way to start because Mamoswine has a great edge, and it might be a suicide lead as well. UnluckyCherry has the rain team, which is fantastic. It's usually very reliable, simply because it does so well against most playstyles. But Pippatacio has a lowland Ninetale, which will be extremely useful as well. You know, to prevent the rain, and he might be able to get the Veil up, which will be also very useful to kind of counter attack on the rain. So he'll be able to maybe not outspeed, but he'll be able to take a hit and punish UnluckyCherry back. So here, Ice Shard will not kill obviously, so we will either need to switch, predicting Bullet Punch, or go for EQ, predicting U-turn. Like, that's a 50-50 that can really go both ways, really. Okay, so that's fair. He art switched rather than U-turning, which makes me wonder if he has a special kind of set. That being said, Tornadus has a 100% chance to hit Hurricane right now, which can be a bit rough for UnluckyCherry. But it just U-turn out, probably into Kingdra, which will be threatening to most things. Okay, so Pipa has a lowland Muck, which has like very high speed def and access to Pursuit as a stab. So it may be extremely hard to handle as well. UnluckyCherry decides to go into his Tornadus instead. The Tornadus was Assault Vest, which could have been useful against, I mean, Kingdra and the Pelipper. Losing Assault Vest, I guess it's not too bad because he still has the Alone and Muck. But UnluckyCherry now has a choice to make. Because he... Yeah, I guess the Torn from UnluckyCherry is not as important, but now it comes down to the speed tie. It's a really intense match, honestly, because they both need a lot of things to kind of keep the other in check. Because Rain can really blow off. Like it can be like extremely good, but if Pipa manages to kind of counter it with the Veil, with Alolan Ninetale, it can go sour pretty fast. Like it just can go like either way still. We'll see if Scizor has Pursuit. If he has, he's gonna be able to get rid of Torn. It would be unlikely for UnluckyCherry to have Heat Wave and Rain. He could potentially have something like Superpower. Okay, so it is... So it has Roost. We didn't see the U-turn earlier, so I wonder if it's like a Roost, Swords Dance, all-out attack set. Okay, so U-turn coming out. So we probably just didn't want to take the risk earlier, which I guess is fine. Okay, so Stealth Rock coming out, Keldeo will be extremely threatening, and the problem now is that UnluckyCherry has a low HP Tornadus. Azumarill is fine, but if he gets burned, it won't be nice. But Secret Sword coming out, a nice predict from UnluckyCherry. Now he's going to be able to hit something pretty hard, and there's literally nothing that really wants to get hit by Azumarill. I mean, a good predict could go a long way, because if he goes for like a Play Rough, for example, Okay, so Secret Sword coming out. So I guess he doesn't expect... Okay, okay. Because, like, Azumarill, like, if he predicts well, will claim something. But since Keldeo stayed in, now it's a bit tricky. But the real question is, did he need the Keldeo? And to that, I would kinda say yes. Because a healthy Keldeo could have been able to handle, like, potentially, like, you know, tanking, like, Surf from Kingdra and clapping it back. It's threatening to Mamoswine, it's threatening to Ferrothorn, so we kind of want to keep it. Okay, so Azumarill taking out Lantern. I think that it crit matter, because Lantern is usually very, very tanky. But you know, so far Azumarill has done a great, like, it's done a great job. Because like now Pippatacio is at 2 millions down. His Keldeo is chipped pretty hard. And I'm just wondering what's up with the Alolan Ninetale, because he kind of needs to get it in and start using Veil. And this would have been a great opportunity to do it, because Ninetale can force out Azumarill with Freeze Dry. So I don't understand what he's gonna do with that Alolan Ninetale, because he really needed it to come out much earlier. It looks like UnluckyCherry is in a very dominant position. Okay, so default coming out is fine. Leech Seed will be extremely annoying. That being said, the problem is that if it's a default set, I don't expect Swords Dance, but if it was a Swords Dance Scizor, he actually could have done... He potentially could have swept there. It would have came down to Pelipper, I think. Okay, so Rox is back in. Keldeo kinda need to make a tough choice. But regardless, Pelipper is always a good switch, because it's gonna resist both stabs. And if the Keldeo has something like Icy Wind, it's not going to be impaired that much because it's already slower and it's going to be a neutral hit. So I think Pelipper should be the play. He goes into Azumarill. I guess he thinks that Azumarill has had enough mileage for now, which is fine, because honestly, I mean, Azu did its job. Like, honestly, it was so far my MVP of the match, and it was shiny, so you know. but yeah, I think Azumarill really did a great job at wall breaking for this match. Keldeo has a lot of pressure on its shoulder, simply because I don't get why the Pelipper is not coming out, but Keldeo has a lot of pressure on its shoulders because it's slow on health, and it kind of needs to, at some point, wall break more. Like, you want it for Ferrothorn, you want it for Mamoswine. I mean, I guess that Scizor can handle Mamoswine. Ferrothorn, at this point, is a big threat, because Scizor is not going to be able to kill it because of its defensive nature. Well, I mean, defensive nature in the sense that it is a defog set. Alolan Ninetale not gonna touch Ferrothorn neither. Alolan Muck may have Fire Punch, depending on the coverage, but we'll see how it goes. Superpower is still very... Okay, Fiji Berry coming out. Ooh, okay, now I'm wondering if it's like a Recycle Curse kind of set, which could be pretty wild. Because Muck could basically keep eating his Fiji Berry and start cursing. But even then, why would you not go into Alolan Ninetale first, is my question. But it is a very viable set, and it is actually very threatening. Okay, so your turn coming out. The crit mattered because Tornadus was at -1 attack. But you know, we'll see how it goes. But okay, so Mamoswine coming out, knockoff as well. But now there's literally nothing that wants to switch into EQ regardless of Mamoswine's item, because Keldeo is just gonna die. Scizor, if it's a very defensive Scizor, maybe you could switch into it. But something like a Alolan Ninetale won't enjoy it at all. Okay, so, dude, the crits keeps coming, but even then, like, it was a kill, regardless. I think it's just downhill from here for Pippatacio, because, like, if you use something like a Alolan Ninetales, you can't keep it in the back and hope to use Veil when it's your last mon. Like, it's pointless. It's like it's an offensive support kind of mon, and it really needed to use it much earlier in the game to actually get some momentum and be able to kind of like stay in where he shouldn't be able to usually, and really poke holes in UnluckyCherry's team. You know, Azumarill, you know, it broke some legs and some arms on Pippatacio's team, but Keldeo for Pippa kind of fell short here, unfortunately. Keldeo still healthy enough to get rid of Mamoswine, but the problem now is like Ferrothorn is just gonna go through everything, because like you could even go Ferrothorn right now if you wanted, just because like Keldeo's lucked and Scald, but we got it. Like there's no reason to go for it, but like the thing is that now you could go for Pelipper and start clicking Surf on his Kingdra and just, you know, slap people. But like Tornado is gonna be annoying for everything else as well. And like even if Scizor has Veil up, it's not gonna be able to handle a Kingdra and Rain at all. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. I don't know if Unlucky has... Okay, so Unlucky doesn't have Taunt, so Veil should at least come out, but it comes out at a time where it's way too late for it to matter, sadly. Okay, so it's Blizzard coming out. Okay, so maybe the Ninetales is actually a kind of like very offensive set, not necessarily a Veil set. Blizzard coming out, Jaraball as well is gonna take it out. I mean, honestly, it's quite unfortunate. Like, sure, you got the Ferrothorn out, but now Scizor is gonna be useless against the rest. But it's like if you use a purely offensive Alolan Ninetales, it can work sometimes, but it's never gonna be as reliable as a like dedicated kind of like offensive support Ninetale. And we kind of saw it there, you know, if you used it really early, could have done something, but it's gonna be a wrap.